Mr. G. Ramesh, CMD, NST,
Going back, when they are going back, they
Yes. Mr. Mathur from XED, NHPC. Mr. Ashwini Kumar, XGM, PHEL. Mr.
No, I will give.
That, yes, please.
Right. So you are from NHPC, right? So you are from NBCC, right?
Thank you very much, sir. We have with us Mr. Yogesh Sharma ji, Ashwani ji from.
I'll come over.
Thank you, sir. So today we have with us Mr. G. Ramesh Kumar, CMD, NSTFDC, National Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation. We welcome you, sir, on this occasion, and thank you for your gracious presence. I request you to present the congratulatory address.
Professor Devesh Kumar, Vice Chancellor of the JNU. I would say almost my colleagues, and Professor Sharma. Good morning to all of you. For me, the CSR, the word CSR in fact is very exciting kind of word for me. I've been working in this National Scheduled Tribe Finance and Development Corporation as a CMD for the last 8.5 years. Some of the colleagues, in fact, very known to me also, but I've been to I went to some of the their workshops, and of course, I also conducted one workshop in the Scope Complex. Mr. Sharma himself, he was there, and along with Nandita, who is outside the country right now. And it's a very interesting topic, and it's very passionate also. At the same time, in fact, it's a little sorry state of affairs for that matter. Somebody talks about compulsion, somebody talks of the outcome oriented, somebody talks of the process oriented, and somebody talks of, in fact, combining your advantages and all that. The ultimate objective is, in fact, is very, I would say, it's one of the greatest opportunity for all of us to come together and work together actually. Like Professor Jagdish Kumar, Vice Chancellor, reminded us that we really work in silos. I would say in the Government of India, which is in right now in Delhi for that matter, we have Shastri Bhavan, Udyog Bhavan, etc., etc. We have different complexes, NBCC, and we have NSTFDC, we have NSFDC, many publicity companies. We all work in silos. I've been trying all my best for last 1 year. In fact, I would like to say Shamchandra Agarwal, who's there, my secretary earlier, who retired last year, December 31. I think he's the president of your Alimony right now. His name is there. So he was the man who instrumental, in fact, introducing me to the Professor Sharma, Kaushal Kumar Sharma. And I found one of the quite energy flowing in him actually. I thought, in fact, I've been really pulling up for many times that you talk a lot but you work less. But that's out of affection, because as I was talking to Vice Chancellor sir in the morning when I met him, the time is running out for all of us. Please remember, in fact, we've been placed in a position where, in fact, by virtue of our quality, it's not by virtue of only our only accomplishment, it's a gift kind of a thing, because you've been placed and you are supposed to do something for the society and something for your own itself also. I mean, the personality development, in fact, we go through, most of the JNU students are there in the, somebody said, in the politics and the administrative service in many ways. Yes, that's true. In fact, most of my colleagues in my batch also from JNU. We subject also to the interview board, it's called personality test. I would say, in fact, test doesn't end there only. The test, in fact, keeps on continuing on the day-to-day thing, actually, when you're actually functioning in the field. So in the leadership position, like in the academy, we are told that you're put in the 95% kind of a bracket right now, you only 5% left in your life. 5% in the entire, I would say, 30 to 40 years of tenure. I would say, suddenly it thinks that it's nothing. In fact, you're already leaders. No, but you have to grow leaders also along with you. You're not leader, you have to learn from other people. In this context, coming to directly the topic of CSR, the potential is very high, the amounts are very huge, and the targets are very huge, response are very huge. To simply come with some kind of dimensions of the government of India, I would say let's start with a very known phenomenon, the Swachh Bharat. It's known everywhere actually, but unfortunately, I have been discussing, and wherever I go and I talk to the people also, we lack the clarity on that. I would say even today we lack the clarity. I said when we lack the clarity, see, each one has a different responsibility. For example, JNU is such a premier institute. They have an academic research, it runs in their blood. And not only when they're in the JNU, even when they come out of the JNU also, they carry that kind of quality actually. The quality of analysis, the quality of research, the quality of forecasting, and the quality of the quality itself. It's an amazing phenomenon actually. Why can't we give these things to some of the academic institutions? JNU, Delhi University, IITs, for that matter, in fact, Vice Chancellor himself came from IIT. I also come from IIT. We have wonderful, in fact, avenues of, in fact, interacting, avenues of developing some kind of research. So simple Swachh Bharat for different categories. Like, for example, I would say for the slum, what is Swachh Bharat for the slum? Now you must have seen in the news actually the so-called Dharavi there and all that. It's one of the wonderful kind of things that the painting is done. You know, it's some ideas generated, like somebody painted. If you really fly and land in the Bombay airport and all the Bombay airport, it's a beautiful kind of a thing. How the concept is, it's a slum actually basically, but you can see from distance there's a beauty in that. Similarly, for the residential complexes, what is a Swachh Bharat? What is Swachh Bharat Academic Institution? What is Swachh Bharat for I would say the publicity undertakings, for school institutions, sanitation, and the livelihood opportunities? Many and many are there actually. So because we don't want to encroach on the other fields actually, I would like to take advantage of the fields. Why should I in fact do research on how to maintain a school? Why should I do it? My domain is there actually. So I have to identify the necessary partner for that matter. They can bring out the major protocols for that matter. It's something like mathematical equation, as simple as that, subject to various parameters. So I would say in this context, this particular conference, I was talking to Sharma also earlier for that matter. This is a wonderful kind of a generation of ideas for that matter. So let's in fact have different students actually, like Professor, I think the initial kind of a thing, Mr. Galgoti, he's put up very beautifully over the tree. I see, amazing. I also know about it. The way you put it is very amazing, very kind of thing. How the tree survives and all that. He said the light is less, the canopy is more. If the water is less, the roots are more. It's a kind of a thing actually. So you have your thinking process going on very dynamically, and the students are very, it's like a virgin kind of a thing and all that, kind of a thought process. Please integrate that into for kind of some kind of a purpose. You have the grooming of the student for that matter. We are also students for that matter. We also came from different backgrounds, right from village school to the city to some of the academic institution. And we've been brought up. The necessary things are there, but right now the entire things have changed right now. things have changed right now. The so-called responsibility of the society. Yeah. It's fine. So, responsibility towards the society, responsibility towards the government for that matter, of the day. We are not concerned with any politics for that matter. Government of the day is the boss. They have some priorities. Those priorities, in fact, in this well, because there's a lot of wisdom that goes on behind bringing the policy kind of a thing. The wisdom, in fact, you must appreciate actually. The wisdom comes from the people like you. Suppose you need some policy, for the so-called Swachh Bharat, so-called, I would say, entrepreneurial development, different government have flagship programs are there. Right from coming from the Prime Minister, none less than Prime Minister himself. So these things can be converted. In fact, I would always say, for example, I belong to tribal arena. You would say, in fact, entrepreneurship development like Stand Up India and Startup India. These are things and all that. I would say to many people, Prime Minister speaks only one word. Please elaborate that on that. He doesn't have. You don't have to go to the Prime Minister's office time and again. What exactly Prime Minister means for that? You have to supplement his ideas. You have to strengthen his ideas. You have to deliver the ideas and to create a process for that. So in which, in fact, the institution like JNU, many partners, in fact, and the people, gentlemen sitting over here also, each one, in fact, somebody have worked for long years in the public sector. Now they retired also. They have a tremendous wisdom, tremendous kind of wisdom and knowledge. Like VC sir was talking about, your so-called knowledge creation and the application of knowledge and knowledge sharing also for that matter. This application of knowledge, in fact, doesn't stop at a particular age. It has to come through all the process of life, actually, through all the avenues and all the people in the government or outside the government. We are all partners. I may being a civil servant, being an IAS officer, I am here actually, but I really equally respect the people who are sitting at the back of the chair also here, the student, the potential leaders for the future. So kindly, in fact, let's understand this concept very clearly. If this workshop comes up with some kind of the protocol, what we can do for some of the flagship programs for that matter, take a couple of flagship programs, actually, how to convert them, and create some small group and all that among the students themselves, because there are people, by gentlemen here from different public sectors, they can be in consultant. I would always say students can come to my place also, can come to many public sector and say, not that only NSTFDC, NBCC, or any for that matter. Somebody can go to HPCL, somebody can go to BPSL, some very different things, but short exposure visits and all that. They understand that because public sector undertakings, in fact, there's somebody said with compulsion, yes, it is true. They are supposed to spend the money. And in fact, the sorry state affairs is that now somebody said, like, my own GM finance was telling, sir, we need to spend this money. In case we can't spend this money, the money goes to Swachh Bharat. I said it's purely helplessness. I'm not, what do you think? The statement is the implied statement. The statement means that we are helpless and we'll give to Swachh Bharat. Everything works on its own. It's not correct at all. We'll have to work hard actually, what exactly you're trying to do it actually. Otherwise, what is Swachh Bharat? These things, why should we be helpless? In fact, so we have an expertise actually with a domain knowledge in a particular field of the company which are operating actually. I would like to convert the money towards developing that, that kind of a capacity in that area. Tribal for that matter. I would like to have a capacity for the tribals. I would like to create enough awareness for that. I would like to create enough protocols for, in fact, developing small units in the tribal the area. So it's not a big rocket science. Each one has a different kind of avenue. So in this sense, actually, I would say university is beautiful. It's like I would say rainbow. People from the different backgrounds are here. People from different, the subjects which are, in fact, we have been out of that, academic field for so many years. And we feel that we are experts and all that. No, we are not experts. The knowledge, in fact, almost stops actually in the government. We are only hooked up to the policy formulation and policy delivery and attending parliament sessions. So we need to interact with each other. When I interact with a young boy, young girl, professor, assistant professor, whoever it may be, we learn something much more. Learning is a continuous process. I would say, I keep on telling many people, learning, unlearning, both are continuous processes. We need to learn from each other. We need to unlearn the other things which in fact not relevant right now. So in this context, I request Professor, then Vice Chancellor, and the Professor Sharma, who is taking the lead in this thing, please try to convert some of the things and all that to doables for different, like, somebody is talking about the country. India is it's the best country of countries. You don't want to go abroad. I would say, in fact, why do you go abroad? Actually, you have to wait for the immigration, whatnot, and all those things. The so-called, it's not necessary. You go to, I had been to Lakshadweep last, just 3 weeks back, because of parliamentary committee. It's a different place. We go, it's not going for vacation. We need to learn something actually, because Anybody, I would say, going for a couple of days, right, even to the Mussoorie Hills also, you'll enjoy it actually. The moment you feel that you're supposed to stay there for continuously, you understand what is the constraint over there. So we appreciate only from the point of the tourism, wonderful, but we need to appreciate also. So think now, we having been positioned in a position like this, with so much of knowledge, what you can say, I don't say that we're claiming the knowledge and all that, but experience I would say, that we need to absorb very quickly. We can't wait for the time. The student can take around 2 years, 3 years, maybe 4 years to do a PhD. Wonderful, that's the time which is given for them. But other person, in a particular position, maybe a PhD achiever or not, doesn't matter. The time is exactly what Vice Chancellor has said, is running out. Please understand, for your personal life also, the life has become, I would say, it's complicated, but I would say no. The life was same earlier also, life is right now same thing also, the so-called competition. But in the you need to understand, you need to decipher it. You need to become, master of your time actually. Like somebody would say about the technology right now, you become slave to technology right now. The young generation right now, I mean, I would, say, very feel sorry and all that. The days were there when we used to go to library and really go to road and all that, search for the books. Right now everything is online. Probably you can search. But even online also, like for example, Google Scholars, that is something that is scholar, that's one thing where exactly you have to go to right kind of a thing. There's so much of choice available right now, you don't know where to go. And in fact, the secret to getting into civil service is the same thing. We have so much information, actually, so many books are there, so much of avenues of this thing, but I know you have to have right combination of things, then only you can develop on that. Similarly here also, right now, for a particular topic, for a particular subject, they have many avenues. And academic institution, in fact, because they have some kind of capacity to understand, to dovetail all those things into a particular deliverables and all that, outcome oriented, and with a passion like Vice Chancellor you have here in this university, I think it's definitely possible, and we'll have a series of interactions like this, maybe in a workshop, maybe in a small kind of thing, somebody can come to a different thing. I would only say one professor, somebody actually, some faculty member, some research scholar, some student for that matter, they can cook in about this thing on tribal issues, on some other issues, on sanitation, on Swachh Bharat, on entrepreneurship development. Like for example, Vice Chancellor just now told me that they'll be starting this engineering college as well as entrepreneurship development and everything something. It's a wonderful thing. Now we need entrepreneurs actually. I was telling from the tribals, in fact, like my institution was created for the double the poverty line for the priority lending. I keep on telling actually the gestation period is already over now. We need to evolve ourselves for different things. I want to create leaders. There are many wonderful leaders available. We need to understand and we need to identify them with less ego. The moment you get say ego in you, you're saying you cannot achieve anything, you feel that you always have that upper hand kind of a thing. Please go to the field, see how many people are there. They're surviving in spite of you, I tell you. They're really beautifully surviving, and the tribal is very happy himself. And many for that matter. But there are constraints. So we need to understand the constraint. And let's this so-called the huge finances available here actually, how to convert them. If you start an example like this, probably in fact the other institutions can take lead from you, and hopefully in fact you'll be able to come with many solutions actually. And I, for that matter, for this workshop, I wish in fact if I go through the entire proceedings actually later on, I would like to come back to you and all that. I will see what we can do, because even I have the money with me. I need to spend something very purposefully. I wish and fondly hope that maybe this particular workshop, I'm keeping my officer also here actually. I think she'll be there till lunchtime, and she'll be able to in fact ask her to in fact aggregate all the interest actually what exactly what kind of commitment is being given over here, and I would like to use this particular output of this conference for my own advantage, and why not others. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for putting up. Thank you very much, sir, for putting up our vision and our aim so in such a profound manner. Thank you very much again. Today, the chief guest, Mr. Anup Kumar Mittalji, CMD NBCC, due to sudden engagements, he could not be present at the function. It's been informed by NBCC, but however, we have the presence of other distinguished guests from NBCC here. Now, on behalf of the university, Professor Kaushal Kumar Sharmaji, faculty at the Center for the Study of Regional Development and the Chief Proctor of our university who will be making a presentation on JNU and its vision for future CSR collaboration.
Good morning to everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Director 1, our Registrar Sir, rest all dignitaries from the PSUs, teachers, my colleagues, and dear students. We are taking forward what our VC Sir has said, Director 1, plus our guest of honor, G. Ramesh Ji has said. On the behalf of JNU, we appreciate the efforts of our PSUs in the national building. They have been making a contribution right after independence. What we see today in the name of development probably carries on their shoulders. At the same time, JNU also has an equal responsibility to take up the issues in academics to a very high level. And it has marked a difference in the social sciences and the natural sciences. And that what we propose is now, as what Vice Chancellor has said, that we also need to bring in technology. And what we propose in JNU today is that our technocrat should not only have the background, but should also have some knowledge of social sciences. So we will be integrating the social sciences and the technology together. And there is a great need for people in the management. Therefore, we are also anticipating that how the management can best help the nation in building. Now, keeping this in mind, all my colleagues from the PSU, I have experience working with, I hope, 10-15 PSUs by now, taking up various programs for them. I could understand that they have to take up this CSR out of the government policy, and that focusing on the various kind of programs, there's a long list for, but they have to incorporate the Millennium Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, maybe the other different kind of national priorities into their programs. Now, what has been proposed, I'd say, they have to make a thrust in the sector of education, environment, eradicating hunger and poverty, women empowerment, health, employment and skill development, all aspects of rural development, and they need to focus on a special component plans related to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and OBC communities. Along with, they make a choice of any kind of a program which really requires by the society. Now, this is a very broad panorama of the kind of programs the PSC has to undertake in the domain of their CSR programs, and they have to invest about, say, 2% of their profit into this program. Now, when it comes to the investment of 2%, some organizations have limited funds and some have large amount of funds that they don't know how to use those funds. Now, that is our biggest challenge for these PSUs to work on, how to associate and how to take up the programs ahead. But they have a lot of flexibility to take up the various programs. Now, JNU has a strong strength of about 610 teachers, out of which 177 are the female teachers. Now, this is a vast kind of a resource which is available in JNU, and we need to really use them very scientifically. And we find that CSR is one area of our concern where domain of our teaching in a social sciences, but all your domains in CSR coincides with each other. So when you look at, say, in a broad panorama of the kind of CSR programs and the kind of programs undertaken by the JNU, probably expand the scope for the PSUs to come and see the kind of programs we take up academically, leading to PhD and postdoctoral research. But we find there is a a gap in kind of the relationship, the requirement of industry, sometimes the academic institutions are not understanding. Therefore, our research is something different and your programs are different. Therefore, we find a need to establish a link, the kind of research you want from academic institutions like this, then JNU can provide a strong base for you to come into, and then we can really provide a solution as what our Honorable Vice Chancellor has said. Now, at the same time, it is also perceived under the communication strategy for the PSUs that they need to establish a mechanism by which your CSR activities are shown across the different borders of India and abroad. We provide a strong base of about, say, more than 70 national and international collaborations, where if JNU takes up some of your programs, I hope we can provide a strong base to show to the world that yes, these PSUs are making a contribution in their community development programs. Now, looking into this, another strength what we carry in JNU is a strong strength of researchers. It's a postgraduate university, probably one of its kind in India, and we find a large number of students from various communities, and we are a strength of students from the SC community, more than 1,227 students. They know the actual problems of the community, where they can interact, and they are already doing research on it. We have about, say, more than 700 students coming from the scheduled tribes across India. And we have the OBC students, nearly 2,726 students. Now, looking into their background and their research background probably gives a strength for them to understand that the real issues related to them. We can use these strength of these students and we can take up these fronts into the development. At the same time, we have nearly 346 foreign students also. So nationally, internationally, when you see, it's a combination of quite a large number of section of people residing on campus in JNU. At the same time, we have a strength of about more than 200 physically challenged students. So we need to see that universities have a different domain of investment, and then these large section of people also need a push from somewhere outside, maybe through research programs or through activities-based programs. So we need to strengthen these sections of students in JNU. I hope JNU has been taking care of all, but we need extra to be done for them. Now this pool of researchers can be purely used for various programs for PSUs to build up their strong base. Even recently, when we look at, say, rural development, more than 6,25,000 villages in India, it's a huge task to be taken up by the government and the different universities, and the academic institutions have not been able to reach to the rural masses. So what we plan to do is that how JNU can, through this program of outreach, can come up with some of the programs. I have already had an experience. I hope Rakesh Khare is sitting here from PhDs India Limited. We started this outreach program through Delhi University in 2010, and we picked up 40 villages in Uttarakhand, and we have been able to change the life of people. And the program is still carried over. 15,000 people are engaged in that program. Similarly, we have an outreach with other universities also in Rajasthan as well as in Himachal Pradesh. So looking into this, the NCRI, National Council for Rural Institute, has approached JNU to sign a MOU, and I am happy to note that today the chairman NCRI is coming to JNU to give us 2 more programs and to sign a MOU for further development of rural areas along with the scholarship and leading to PhD program. So that will be a commendable job through where the NCRI is going to make a program related to. When the PSUs are also working in the same field in rural development, so NCRI, JNU and your PSU can be of great help. You can build up your strong base in rural development programs. Now what we can do for you is that when you look at, say, the whole construct of JNU and your mandate of conducting the baseline surveys, along with you need to make the planning of your funds on short-term, long-term and medium-term goals, we can provide the technical support in providing that how the technical proportions can be, on a scientific basis, can be given to you, and how the financial planning of your projects can be done. My experience as it goes on that sometimes the PSUs have been overfunding the project, but actually the output is very, very low. Therefore, this gap of investment and the return need to be made a balance where the JNU can play a pivotal role in making this kind of an assessment for you all. Then you need to implement the programs. I hope we are already engaged in research. Our teachers are already engaged with various programs related to CSR, but otherwise also they can really provide lab-based and field-based implementation of your program. We have a strong base of labs and the different kind of programs they are available with us. We can make a strong base for your research into your organization, not only to CSR, but to other activities too. Then you need to monitor your programs. Then what I understand is the PSUs have taken up people from various technical background into the CSR, where their domains are not actually social oriented. So in that sense, the monitoring by the students or by the teachers can be done for you. And at the same time, your investment need to be evaluated. Therefore, the impact evaluation studies can also be taken up by JNU, and that can also become a strong base for our students to go for a further research. Now, this is what we think in lines of. And looking into, not taking much of your time, but what I expect and what we thought of this workshop, I hope our Rector Van Gregoti has already said, and our Vice Chancellor also indicated, along with our guest of honor, G. Rameshi, that we need to develop some kind of a mechanism by which we all join together, being an government organization. Now what the basic PSUs are finding a problem is to identify who should be or who should implement their programs. Now they find too much of difficulty in identifying NGOs. But when they find difficulty in identifying NGOs, then academic institutions can play a vital role again, where you can identify academic institution which can provide a solution to you. And this is all government to government funding and a mechanism. And even I am sure that you know that you need not to even advertise. It can be on the priority basis. You can give your programs to the academic institution. Now that becomes easy and a quick way for the PSUs to have collaboration with JNU-like institutions throughout India. Now what we think, and JNU has an immense infrastructure, but I hope looking at the students and the teachers, but otherwise we have more than 1,000 people traveling on a day-to-day basis within the JNU campus. So that means there are the people, those who come from the JNU, and there are people from outside. We fall short of certain infrastructure and facilities which is prevailing in JNU. And we think that the PSUs can help us to solve some of our problems in this regard. What we perceive, and in your deliberations, you have been doing all these kind of jobs. If you can supplement our program, I hope that would be a great for JNU to improve infrastructurally over a period of time. Now we have immense, say, the landscape available, and that too on a high platform. And when you look at, say, the green energy that is converted into a solar, now we have a strong base for converting on the rooftop to 8 megawatt. Now 8 megawatt energy can be converted for a sustainable energy within the JNU for life to come. So therefore we also need and think and support, look forward to your support, that how you can make some kind of investment in the green energy sector within the JNU. And then I said that we have 1,000 acres of land and huge Aravali diversity that is available. We made a baseline survey for power grid long time back to initiate the same process. And we have already done it somewhere. The JNU has earmarked about, say, 364 acres of land for biodiversity development. I hope we had Mr. Raturi here from SR Asia International and IGL together plan for developing this whole 364 acres of land into a biodiversity park. But meanwhile, some clearances are required from the Ministry of Environment. Once we pick it up, we can really join in hand with IGL to develop a biodiversity park. We still have a plan to plant about, say, 10,000 trees within the JNU campus. So these are the areas in biodiversity, and we want to become zero discharge rainwater through harvesting of technique that can be evolved recently. So many things are coming up. So we need to see your sport in water management. We need to seek your sport in terms of the biodiversity development, and we need to seek your sport in the green energy in solar. Then, looking at the amount of waste that is being generated, we also need a solid waste management plant. If that is Kanda, then we can really generate organic waste which can be converted into a fertilizer within the JNU campus. I hope that can be an added dimension to the saving of environment and environmental pollution. At the same time, we need to have a discharge which is being goes as a waste. Water treatment plant is also foreseen as the thrust area for JNU, that how zero discharge can be there through waste. We need to seek funds from various organizations in this regard. I said it that we have more than 1,000 people traveling across the JNU campus on a day-to-day basis. So we need to develop some kind of public toilets where they can use those facilities within the JNU campus. When students are moving up and down, they can also use. So we need to work on the public toilets within the JNU campus. Now we have a health service sector. We have a primary health center here within the JNU campus. And more than 8,000 students and nearly 1,000 teachers, a combined strength of about, say, 9,000 people within the living JNU campus, requires more thrust in the health services. So we can find out a gap mechanism where some of the kind of infrastructure required in the health sector, and we are honored to have that. I was talking to BHEL, Narendra Thakur, he said it, they have given an ambulance under the CSR program long time back. In a similar way, we can also think of that how some infrastructure development facilities can be extended into our health sector in time to come. And now, because the strength has increased over a period of time, we also look forward to that some additional hostel capacity has to be increased. If now the Ministry of Home Affairs probably has come up on a hostel in JNU for the tribal people from the Northeast. So similarly, we can also add some rooms and some mechanism by which other people can also be accommodated, maybe a new or maybe additional to some of the rooms into the hostel. That is what we look forward again to. Now, moreover, as what our Vice Chancellor has a vision, and we keep discussing at times, we need to adopt villages to show our strength and your willingness to work together with JNU. And we want to create a showcase by saying, yes, academic institution out of their REACH program can do a change in the life of people. So how we can do that? By skill development, or by, say, sustainable livelihood, or by, say, any other method, we can provide a quality life to people. More than 70% people in India make their own living. Their poverty is thicker. Their hunger is prevailing. We need to do something for them. If you are able to contribute something to us, I hope the academic institution like JNU can provide a strong base to your program in CSR. Lastly, what I would say one thing more, that we have immense potential for, as what the India Hero program yesterday was launched by our Honorable Prime Minister. Now that is confined to schools, but when you look at, say, the contribution, and they foresee this kind of a care program for 2030. But JNU has a stadium, JNU has a facility, and that is a pollution-free. When you look at, say, the breathing belt is JNU, then we need to provide a strong base for the sports facility of a national or international standard by which we can accommodate the players within and prepare them for all these events at a national and international level. And if you are able to provide a sport to us in maintaining and managing our, say, the stadium, and provide infrastructure support in terms of equipment, that will be the added dimension to creating facilities for sports in JNU. I hope these are some of the areas we thought of at the beginning to work with you, but your priorities need to be taken care of. If you pick up some of the activities, they are part of your CSR program. If you are able to support our programs in JNU, it will be really a very enterprising for us, and our students will also have a glimpse of better life within the JNU campus. Therefore, it is our humble beginning to associate with yourself, and if you are able to convert into a reality, that will give us a great showcase for the rest of the people in India to show that academic institution can make a change in the whole life of academics as well as in the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now the vote of thanks for the ceremony. I feel honored and privileged to have an opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. Today, the 1st of February will indeed be a very memorable day on this event, as this event shall mark the beginning of JNU as an academic institute to take the initial footsteps in CSR outreach program in collaboration with the various PSUs of the nation. I, on behalf of the Committee of Resource Mobilization JNU, convey deep regards and hearty thanks to our guest, Mr. G. Ramesh Kumar. Mr. G. Ramesh Kumar, CMD and STFDC, for gracing the inaugural ceremony. We are greatly encouraged by your gracious presence and feel immensely benefited by your inspiring address. We are extremely grateful to our Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Jagadish Kumarji, for his encouragement, guidance, and for providing a stimulating environment for such outreach programs for our faculties and researchers to collaborate and contribute in the CSR activities. Today, we have with us some of the most reputed PSUs from power sector, heavy industry, oil and gas sector, construction industries, etc., who are very well known for their commitments, visions of proclaiming welfares and for shouldering many of the social responsibilities of our great nation. I wish to thank Mr. Rajendra Panchu, ED BCC, Mr. Amitav Srivastav, CE NHPC, Mr. Balveer Talwar, GM BHEL, Mr. Mandeep Singh, IGL, Mr. R. Rathuri, Director SR Asia International, for agreeing upon chairing the various sessions in the workshop. I also wish to express our profound thanks to Mr. Mathur, ex-HED, NHPC, Mr. Ashwani Kumar, ex-GM, BHEL, Mr. Ramesh Khare, ex-ED, CSR, THTCL, Mr. D.S. Chauhan, ex-GM, CSR, NHPC, for your gracious presence and profound guidance in today's workshop. I convey my thanks to all the presenters from various PSUs, which include Mr. Ajit Kumar Sharma, BHEL, Mr. Rajpal Singh, REC, Mr. G. Sridharan, NTPC, Mr. Salia, Power Grid. I express my sincere thanks to our Registrar, Ms. Dr. Pramod Kumarji, our R&D Director, Rupeshji, our CIS Director, Sanjeevji, and other administration staff and faculties for their ever-since support and presence in today's event. Our deep regards and thanks to the chairman of our committee, Professor S.C. Gargoti, Rector 2. It is his vision and leadership at every step that has guided us to reach this far. Our thanks to Professor Kaushal Kumar Sharmaji, who is known for his passion for an outstanding contribution in various CSR projects throughout the country. We thank him for his encouragement, support, and hour-to-hour guidance. I also wish to express my sincere thanks to all the committee members for their unlimited support and dedication and teamwork for organizing this workshop. This reflects our commitment to the goals of our committee. At the end, I once again thank our chief guest of honor, Vice Chancellor JNU, and all the distinguished guests for their presence on this occasion. Thank you very much. Before we close down, we